everybody, so new review for you guys today. We're talking about the upcoming horror film Gretel and Hansel. Most people know the Grimm's fairy tale about Hansel and Gretel, at least to some degree. It's a very popular story centered around both of them desperately looking for food out in the woods until they stumble upon terrifying evils out there. This version really appealed to me though. It looked like it was going for that darker tone and the visuals looked really striking. It almost actually reminded me a lot of what I've become accustomed to in the horror genre from A24 and their kind of films, which kind of makes sense in a way just because of the fact that the director of this film, Oz Perkins, actually did direct the A24 film before called The Blackcoat's Daughter. Visuals by far is the strong suit here. It's fairly stylistic. The design of everything here is great. It's very bleak. It's eerie. It's going for that creepy atmosphere that you don't get really too much in mainstream horror these days. It's certainly something I can always appreciate in my horror films. Also, the performances as well from our two lead actresses were really great as well. Sophia Lillis does another really great job, another great performance here portraying Gretel, and she's really compelling. I mean, for the most part, because there are some times where we kind of get off with the voiceover in this movie where it really kind of just goes off track with the dialogue that she's given in the voiceovers. There's too much voiceover going on and it kind of takes me out of it. Mainly due to most of the dialogue she has to read off is mainly exposition dumps that have really clunky dialogue, but also Alice Krige as Hulda, phenomenal. One of my favorite parts of this movie. She was the perfect amount of creepy and ominous, always switching off and on from friendly to showing her true intentions in an instant. All of her interactions, especially with Sophia Lillis as Gretel, are some of the best scenes in the movie as far as dialogue is given, just because they have really great exchanges together, and you really don't know what's going to happen when it comes to when they have banter against one another. Another thing I really like, though, is the score in the film, which I really wasn't expecting to like going in, just because it's very synth poppy, but weirdly enough, it actually does work with the theme that they're going with in the dark, eerie world that they're building. And it did a really good job enhancing the scenes that it was in. As much as I do like all of those aspects, I do think the first half of the film is much stronger than the second half in its execution. I think that it is a very slow burn style of film, and the payoffs, I think only kind of semi-pay off by the end. And I'd also say that it is a film that pretty much just goes for the creep factor. There's not really too much in the film, say, that actually scares you in any way. It is PG-13, but like I've said so many times before, you can make a PG-13 film scary, and it kind of just goes for the creepy, ominous vibes. You know, you see things in the distance and stuff like that. It doesn't really go for too much genuine horror, unfortunately. And it is kind of a factor, the fact that most people do know the story of Hansel and Gretel and how like the basic structure of it is. And there are a few things in the story that they do change to kind of justify it existing and make another version of the story. But there's nothing in it I feel like that changes it too much. But yeah, overall, I definitely think this is a film that you can check out and have some decent fun with if you're a fan of the horror genre, especially if you're into that A24 indie style of horror, just because it is very similar in its style and execution to the indie horror style. It has great production design, cinematography. The acting overall is top-notch. The dialogue's kind of clunky. If you're not into like the slow burn style of horror, I definitely think you may want to avoid it, but I do think there's some genuine creep factor in there if you like the Hansel and Gretel storyline anyway. It is a relatively short watch. It's only 87 minutes with credits, which is quite short. I mean, if you like horror movies and you're in a hurry, this is something I would definitely throw on. Now that you've heard my thoughts on Gretel and Hansel, make sure you leave a comment down below. What did you think of the film? If you check it out, did you like it? Did you not like it? Do you think that this is an interesting adaptation to the source material? Are you a fan of the source material? Let me know if you liked any of the changes. Either way, let's do a discussion, go in the comments, up to all these movies here. But thank you as always for checking out reviews. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like, hit that subscribe button if you want to keep updated my movie reviews, show reactions, unboxings, and more. But until next time, I'll see you guys later.